Well, here at the Townsville City Council, we're very, very proud to offer this unique service here in our library through our local history department and our collection. It features a number of books, newspaper clippings, videos, anything that reflects Townsville's history is right here. And we have our wonderful staff on hand to actually help any member of the community who is interested to know a little bit more about Townsville's history. Not only that, but our universities here in Townsville and throughout Australia have actually contacted us to look through our archives because we have such an interesting array of history on display. I would urge every member of the public to come and pay a visit here at our library. It's a wonderful resource.
Our digital collection not only includes the materials that you'll find on our Spiders catalogue, but also materials are only available in-house if you visit us at the facility here at Flinders Street. These aren't able to be put online due to various copyright or privacy reasons. For example, our cemeteries records. So those do contain quite a lot of personal details. So while you can't view them online, you can come in and we can conduct searches for you. So this is our reading room, which is where we keep most of our general reference material. The public has access to this room under supervision. The things you'll find in this room are mostly published works, but also a very large pamphlet collection, which includes a lot of unpublished or small piece materials, maybe extracts from other things, which are quite valuable. We also have materials that essentially can't sit by themselves on the shelf, but are very valuable, like handwritten accounts and things of that nature. We also have our mapping files, which you see here. Most of these are your town planning maps, with some others mixed through. They are, by and large, not on the catalogue. You will get headers, but it is something that you do need to come in and search through to discover what we have. Another really great, valuable, more old school material is our card catalogue, which was completed by librarians of old, and while it hasn't been kept up with the rest of the catalogue, it's still a really great resource to flick through. So they're done by subject heading, and they're well worth a look. This is our John Matthew collection, which is arguably the most useful part of the local history collection. We're very fortunate to have it. It was compiled by a former town planner with the Townsville City Council by the name of John Matthew, and essentially what it is a compendium of newspaper references by subject from the settlement of Townsville up until about the 1970s. As you can see, there are 116 volumes. Each one contains mostly handwritten notes taken from publications like the Townsville Bulletin, Cummins and Campbell, the Herald, which is a paper that previously existed in the 1800s in Townsville, along with many others. So it's an excellent base place to start your research whenever you're looking at anything Townsville related, because it will give you an overview of topics through time. So the kinds of materials that you'll find on the microfiche and the microfilm include things like the Queensland Post Office Directory. They tend to be more official documents, so things like your government gazettes, and then your syndicated publication materials like Cummins and Campbell's, and directories. are a lot of what make up the collection. These particular ones are really good for finding individuals that aren't necessarily well known, because people may not have biographies written about them, but they're usually in the post office directory. So it makes finding both individuals but then pinning down their locations really helpful and useful for these ones. In 2019, we had a failure of our climate control system, which meant we had to evacuate the collection to an off-site storage facility. Recently, we had a large project bringing the collection back in, and in that project, we did an identification system of red, yellow and green for items, green on the catalogue and discoverable, yellow on the catalogue, but there are some issues with the entries, and red is for items that aren't yet on the catalogue and aren't currently discoverable, so things like the items behind me. Now, the staff will probably have a fair idea of many of these items that are undiscoverable, but from a community facing perspective, if you're searching for something but you don't find it on the catalogue, it doesn't mean that we don't have it an item in available for that sort of specific topic, but it does mean that you will have to come in and have a chat to us about your research and what you're looking for. So these are our microfilm cabinets. Some of the titles you'll be familiar with, like the Townsville Bulletins or Rates books. Other ones will probably be new to you, like the Port Denison Times or the Townsville Evening Star. These are really useful items if you have a date range that you know of, because they are all obviously filed by date order. So the important thing to realise when you're searching through the digital records is that Trove finishes off their Townsville Bulletin offerings at about 1953, and Newsbank doesn't start up until the early 2000s. So there is quite a large gap in between that time, which aren't easily discoverable and aren't digitised. And that is where you have to do the hard work of finding specific dates, because there is no index for that time period. This is the West End Cemetery Index, which is a card catalogue that you can search through. They contain information like burial numbers, birth dates, and religion is another feature of these particular index.
So this is the ARC, ARC as opposed to ARK for archive. So it's the archives room for the local history collection. It was put in place for when the collection came back from Iron Mountain. So every box that came back, the staff went through and sorted and put it on the shelf. In the future, discussions have been held as to what we can use the room for other than packaging and cataloguing and labelling items. And those discussions have included programming like online workshops, showing people how to do different things like save a wet book, or how to identify different pests or things like that, how to put an archive box together, oral histories. We also thought that in the future, and all of these things have the big COVID question mark hanging over them, that there might be the opportunity to have some sort of volunteer program where skilled people who wanted to undertake a small project here could do so. And it would give them a lovely space to work. They'd have access to the local history collection and to the staff.
So an important part of what we do here at the local collection is to make professional standard digitisation equipment available to the public, so that you can come and bring your own family slides or photographs, or if you're doing a research piece and you've been provided materials, you can come in here and have them digitised to archival standards. So we have the Bookeye machine here, which is a piece shipped from Germany that you can use to digitise your out of copyright book materials, but also large scale things, as well as we have slide scanners and a specialty photograph scanning machine that are all available for you Monday to Friday. It's always best to ring ahead for two reasons. One, so that we can make sure that we have staff available for you, but two, if you're using a particular piece of equipment or a particular resource, we can make sure that those are ready to go when you come in.